Playoffs or bust for the Denver Broncos? We're talking about that because the Broncos are in a playoff spot right now. Plus, we're doing a midseason check-in. Where are the Broncos compared to the rest of the AFC teams? And is Sean Payton Coach of the Year? Is Pat Surtain Defensive Player of the Year? We're breaking down all the midseason awards, and it starts now. Denver Broncos making the playoffs? And if not, is this a busted season? We're going to talk about it on the DNVR Broncos podcast. We've got Super Bowl 50 champ Todd Davis, Henry Chisholm. You hear behind the camera, and yours truly, Zach Stevens, rocking and rolling with you from the DNVR Bar inside the Toyota Lounge. And of course, we're brought to you and presented by Bet365. Use that code DNVR365 when you sign up. Deposit $10. Place a $5 bet. You're going to get $200 in bonus bets plus Altitude Plus courtesy of Bet365. So check them out and check us out. Thank you guys so much for rocking and rolling with us today, fellas. How we doing?
Feeling good, man. Ready to get this conversation underway. I was thinking about it. I don't know why my mind kind of like goes left sometimes, but I feel like bust is one of those words that's like good or bad. You could bust, and then if your team busts,
yeah,
it's bad.
Wait, you could bust?
Yeah.
But then also like
are you talking about what I'm thinking?
No, I'm just saying it's one of those words. You know how some words are both good and bad.
You go to Canton and there's a bust.
Yeah.
Oh,
or like you.
Okay. Is that what you were referring to?
Yeah.
Also bust. You know, it's another word for chest.
Yes.
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 Generally considered good.
Yes.
Yes.
Can men have a bust on their chest?
I don't think they want to.
But I mean, when you
I
say
don't know.
bust, you're talking about females.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Still trying to pick up what Todd just said.
I'm just saying there's certain words in the American vocabulary that can be good or bad.
They all like flip around
This is what it
sometimes.
is. Yeah.
That's a
word
flip and
bad.
flop.
The word
Yeah,
bad.
bad could be bad could be good.
Exactly.
But we kind of society made bad good.
Who's bad?
Well,
Yeah,
society
like
decides all the words.
No, like
Society made the words.
Like you're saying, bust is look up the word bad in the dictionary. There will not be a good thing that is said about the word bad
Try it.
in the dictionary.
There will be soon.
But Todd, you're right about bust. There will be the good meaning, the bad meaning in there, the Hall of Fame meaning. So you're right. I think that's a really good point.
But this one we're talking about is bad.
Merriam-Webster's does have a good definition for it too. So
Hit
it has
me,
Yeah.
hit me with
says,
it.
Good, great, one of the baddest songwriters to be found anywhere.
Oh,
Wow.
come on. That's a little Urban Dictionary.
That's what
thrown in
words
there.
do. Words change meanings. Awful.
Wow.
Awful
You
used
gotta
to be a good thing.
Trust Webster.
As in, like, you're awful, like full of awe. And now awful means bad.
Wow.
Words just flip around. And
That
soon
is-
bad just going to mean good.
So then, along this conversation, let's relate it to sports and kind of to the Broncos. Are you guys pulling for Russ? Are you hating against Russ? Are you neutral against Russ? Where do you guys stand when Russ is on national TV last night playing the Giants? Are you pulling for him? Are you hoping he fails? What are you looking for?
You know, I'm just watching the game. I don't think I have like a real feeling whether he does good or bad. I never want to hate on somebody. I never want to because he didn't do anything to me. I wasn't his teammate, so I can't be mad.
Yep.
So I'm not hating on him. But when he does good, I'm like, where was this the whole time? That's what I
Yeah. No, I'm betting on Russ. That's what I'm doing. So as long as he keeps making me money, we're cool. But yeah, last night he made me money. If they win the division, he'll make me money. So as long as he keeps making me money, I'm happy with him.
Typically, the Toyota chat's a good barometer because we have very well-informed fans. Let me know how you're feeling because there is a lot of hate out there for Russ from Broncos Country. And you're right, Todd. Russ didn't do anything to you. But he did something to Broncos country that hurt them for a very long time. He took over $100 million in real money and dead cap money and really burned the Broncos. Now, people could flip that around and say, it actually wasn't Russ that did that. Russ was just the guy that got all the money. Like, other people gave up the draft picks. Other people paid him the money there. And so I know there's a lot of vitriol to those people who did that as well in Broncos country. And to me, where I'm at, if the Broncos are good, if Bo Nix works out, then it's going to be a lot easier for Broncos country to be like, oh, okay, maybe not pulling for Russ, but be like, oh, good for Russ for winning last night. He had a couple of good passes. He had a good stat line. Okay, he can do that. He's in a different division right now. When it comes to playoff time, obviously, this is going to completely change. But just thank goodness for Bo Nix. And that he's looking good, that the Broncos are looking good at 5-3, because if Bo Nix and the Broncos were looking more like their 0-2 start, oh my gosh, this would be so bad in Broncos country. But, it's like a breakup. If both sides move on and they both find happiness, you're like, okay, I'm happy for that person, because I have happiness as well. But if I'm not happy and they're living the life, oh no, this is bad. What did I say?
No, I agree. You still want like the cuter, like next, right?
Yeah.
You never want to look over and then,
Yeah.
He's 6'5" and runs a 4.3 and not like, you're like, no, like this is not going on. You still want your girlfriend to be cuter than whoever she moves on.
I think
with, right?
size is overrated, Todd. We don't have to worry about sex.
You said it. I didn't say it.
Oh boy.
I don't know if I agree.
Wow.
Yeah, it definitely. And right now, who has the cuter?
I think we won in the relationship ultimately in the breakup.
Good. Even though Steelers are 6-2.
I think if we're looking at just what Bo has done and what Russ has done, because a lot of those wins are like team wins, Steeler wins. Like Justin Fields got,
big time
couple of wins too.
Yeah.
I think just like tit for tat, 1v1, I think Bo wins.
The tough part is that the Broncos are still paying his salary. So it's like an alimony situation. And that just kind of puts a wrinkle into everything. Like, what if she's with whoever and they're not even working anymore? You're just giving them $37 million.
But that's water under the bridge. Like,
is it?
You knew that was going to happen when you made that decision. You knew that was going to happen before you made that decision.
Didn't get the prenup.
Yeah, exactly. See, you messed up years ago. You've already kind of swallowed that decision and moved on from there.
Yeah.
That's at least how I view it.
Okay. It is a little bit tougher to watch, knowing that there's a good chance it's going to come down to like the Steelers and the Broncos and the wild card somewhere, and you're paying he makes like $38 million, and you're paying 37 of it this year. That's when it could sting a little bit more. But as of now, I think it's fine.
That's fair. And when you look at this too, yesterday you said the Steelers were in a position to play the Broncos if the season were to end. After the Steelers win yesterday, now the Broncos are the 5th team in the AFC playoffs. The Steelers moved up to the 3rd, so right now the Broncos are scheduled to play the Buffalo Bills if it were to go into the playoffs right now. And the Broncos will be traveling to Buffalo. Really quick, to wrap up this conversation before we move on, would you rather go into Buffalo and play the Bills in the wild card if you're the Broncos right now, or would you rather go into Pittsburgh and play Russ and the Steelers?
I'd rather play Russ and the Steelers. I think the Bills are a pretty good team, good running team. Trying to figure it out, got some more weapons at wide receiver, so I think they will. But I think they're a better team than the Steelers are overall. So definitely don't want to go. It's going to be freezing, too. Like, it's going to be cold in both places.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you, Buffalo, January is going to be colder.
And the colder it gets, the more excited they get up there.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's just, it's definitely the Steelers. I think at some point, the Bills are a pretty thin team, I think. They don't have a lot of depth. So if they get a little bit banged up down the stretch, then maybe something changes. But as of now, I don't think it's all that close.
I totally agree with you. Outside of TJ Watt, man, I saw him win the game for the Steelers last night and really seal the game in Buffalo. I mean, Von Miller, maybe he gets back from his suspension, and he looked good before his suspension. So I guess those teams both do have dangerous guys on both sides of the ball. But we're getting a little ahead of ourselves talking about when the Broncos make the playoffs, because I want to know if you guys think the Broncos are going to make the playoffs. We're pretty much at the midway point through the season. 8 games in, 9 games left to play. Broncos also have a bye week coming up as well. And Broncos are sitting at 5-3 after a 0-2 start. The Broncos are 5-1 in their past 6 games. That's tied for the second best record in the NFL since week 3 on. You know who has the better record than the Broncos? There's 2 teams that are tied for a better record than the Broncos since week 3 on.
Chiefs.
Yep.
Undefeated.
Yep.
Who else?
Who else would this other one be?
Who would it be?
The Ravens?
Not the Ravens.
They
lost this past week.
Lions?
Say with some conviction.
The Lions.
The Lions, yes.
There we go.
It's the Lions. They are also 5-0. They started 1-1. Now, there's 2 teams that are tied for the Broncos for the same 5-1 record since week 3 on. You know who they are?
I wasn't ready for a quiz. I can't lie.
Is it the Falcons?
It is not the Falcons. I actually forgot one of the teams. I know one of them, though.
Vikings?
Is not the Vikings. They are 0-2 in their last 2 games.
I guess I did know that because I've watched both.
I'll give you guys some time.
Oh, Packers.
Packers.
Packers are really good.
Impressive.
Packers are better with Malik Willis, which is a development this year.
Which would actually be a big issue for them since they just paid
Yeah.
Jordan Love tons of money.
Yeah, it'd be fine if Malik was under contract for that long, but yeah, that's a different podcast.
Think about this other team. In the Toyota chat, let us know, and the Toyota chat's already letting us know. Cook
The
Crumby
Bengals?
says Bills. Broncos Tube says Packers. Henry says Bengals. I'm the Man says Vikings. The Texans. Lazy Hazy says Chargers. And I'll tell you what, none of those are right.
Wow.
So keep guessing and keep thinking when I give a shout out to our friends over at Toyota. We're over at
Cardinals?
Toyota. If you need a car, you need a Toyota. And I'll tell you what, I saw the Corolla on the streets yesterday. I mean, we give Supra love for being like the sports car looking car. Oh my gosh, the Corolla is absolutely the new Corolla. It looks like a sports car spaceship mix.
Wow. Would you say you caught the Corolla virus?
That's the only virus I want to catch is the Corolla virus. And this thing looks swoop, man. I'll tell you what.
yes.
It is
Oh,
the
my
car
gosh.
that you want. And if you want a bigger car, Toyota's got all the different sizes of cars that you could want, including the Tundra I-Force Max hybrid truck, which that hybrid just packs so much punch and makes it just such a powerful truck. So if you need a Toyota, go visit your Front Range Toyota stores at a location near you. AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Corwin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota, the official automotive partner of the NFL and the official vehicle of DNVR.
And shout out to our friends over at Empire Today. If you guys are looking for some new flooring and want to take care of your house or business, you got to check out Empire Today. Their philosophy is to help you find what you need and not overwhelm you with thousands of choices and substitutes. They'll definitely get you dialed into the right flooring, whether it's tile, laminate, carpet. They have it all. They definitely will keep you taken care of, and they have a virtual floor designer. It's a great way to see how new floors will look in any space. It's easy. You just snap a picture and instantly see how new floors will look in your home. So you don't have to go through all the guesswork. Things look a lot different on the showroom floor and the way the lighting is. So you can go home, you can take your picture, you can see exactly how it will look in your house. So you won't have to have any guesswork when you work with Empire Today. And right now, you can schedule a free in-home estimate today. All listeners can receive a $350 off discount when they use the promo code DNVR. Remember, restrictions apply. See EmpireToday.com/DNVR for details.
And shout out to our friends over at Bet365. Use that code DNVR365. Deposit $10, place a $5 bet. You're going to get $200 in bonus bets plus altitude plus courtesy of Bet365. So check them out. And guys, I'm disappointed in the 3 of you, and I'm including you here in this. The Toyota chat has got the answer multiple times, so I'm not disappointed with the Toyota chat. But you here's over here when Todd's doing his ad read, circling ones that he's guessing. He's guessing like the Bears, which I think have been guessed. He's guessing the Falcons, which is not true. He's guessing the Steelers, which you guys have already guessed and is not true.
It's Eagles.
It is not the Eagle. Are we going to go through all 31
No,
teams
it's just
until
the
we
only
get this
team
one?
that somebody guessed that you didn't say. So
Commanders.
The
Yeah.
Commanders.
I tried to
Ding,
throw it in
ding,
there.
ding, ding. What?
No.
What? What'd you say? Thought I heard something over there. The Commanders. So how about that? 2 rookies kind of being in the top 5 teams since week 3 on. Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix. Pretty impressive what we're seeing from rookie quarterbacks. And this is the most wins that rookie quarterbacks have had combined in the NFL. The second most wins. I believe the only other time it's happened is... I don't remember when, but rookie quarterbacks really having a resurgence, not really having rookie years this season. So we're talking about good teams. Is this playoffs or bust for the Broncos right now? Or do we need to define what that means first? Because after the show, I think Henry wants to define what that means.
Absolutely. I think it's very important because it kind of gets thrown around a lot. So it started out as California or bust. Back during the gold rush.
No. We're not doing history. We're talking about the NFL playoffs
this is
right
important.
now.
Basically what happened was, like, there's this big drought, and so all the farmers were just, like, totally stuck. There was nothing they could do. So they packed up their families and, like, everything they could fit in their car, left everything behind. So, like, they took this big gamble, went to California, hoped that they were going to make it, and if not, they were just going to be, like, stuck somewhere and starve and die. And if they make it, then they try to hit gold. So that's, like, what California or bust is, and that's kind of been played off since then. So,
but we're not. I didn't say are the Broncos California or bust.
But then so you saw Broncos in. It means, or playoffs or bust. It would mean you're taking this big gamble, and if it doesn't work out, then you're just totally stuck with nothing. You know, but it's like bust in business means bankrupt. Like you've got nothing. And so you look back at like the Rams when they went Super Bowl or bust, and they traded for Vaughn and Jalen Ramsey and Matt Stafford. And they traded like 4 first-round picks and a second and all that sort of stuff and put themselves in salary cap hell for the next 5 years. Like, they had to win the Super Bowl. Otherwise, they were totally stuck. Like, you look at, like, the Broncos a couple years ago when they go for Russ. Like, that has to work. Otherwise, you wind up where they were last year, which is just you have nothing. You have no direction. And that's why with the Broncos, if they don't make the playoffs...
Wait. Let's just stop there so we can talk about what we mean by this, because I think what you talked about with the Rams, that's all in. And that's different than playoffs or bust.
I would say they're the exact same.
No, I think it's different. I think when a team goes on, they push all their chips in on the table, and then that's what you described. Playoffs or bust for me. Let's think about it with a different team. At the beginning of the season, were the Chiefs playoffs or bust?
For sure.
Of course they were. Like, that is what their expectations were. Now, did it mean that they were going out and trading for TJ Watt? Did it mean they were going out and trading for all the best players in the NFL and completely mortgaging their future on this season? No, it just meant like, man, they have to make the playoffs or else this is going to be a very disappointing season.
But disappointing is different. Because again, like, a business sense, Walmart can have a very disappointing year and people can be really upset and lose a bunch of money, but they didn't bust. Because bust means bankrupt. Bust means no more Walmart. For the Chiefs, I wouldn't even say... The
Chiefs aren't going to be no more. The Broncos aren't going to be no more. So that doesn't...
But they would be left with nothing.
That doesn't happen in sports.
It does. Like I think the Jets are right there. I think they went all in. They went and got Aaron Rodgers, and they realized that was a big mistake, and now they don't really have a future. They're just starting all over, building up from nothing. I think the Broncos, when they did the Russ thing, that was the bust part.
So let me ask you, were the Chiefs playoffs or bust?
No, because I don't think they gambled enough, and I don't think that they would be left with nothing if they didn't make it.
So this wasn't a playoffs or bust year for the Chiefs.
Because playoffs or bust implies some sort of gamble, and they haven't gambled. If they had made more moves, I think you could make a case like if you knew Travis Kelce and like Andy Reid were retiring after this year, then that could be because you kind of know it's the end of a window. You know, because you know that you're kind of having to start all over if it doesn't work. And maybe there is some of that. Like, it would be on the line. But I don't think people would leave the season saying, like, well, Chiefs are stuck. They need to totally rebuild. Maybe they would, though, because they have Patrick Mahomes and missed the playoffs, you know?
I totally disagree. Todd, where do you stand with this meaning of this?
I've been loving the back and forth, so I've just been listening.
Still undecided?
No, I think that it's playoffs or a disappointment. I think maybe he's saying like the word bust means like it's all over. Like we gotta blow this up. You know what I'm saying? Because it just didn't work.
Yep.
We've gambled too much to have this. So at this point in the season, though, I think they should make the playoffs because of like who this team is and who Sean is as a coach. Like they're always a second half team, and so if halfway you're over 500, that means you just got worse the rest of the year. And I don't look for this team to do that. I don't look for Bo Nix to get worse. I think he's going to continue to get better throughout the course of the season. So they should absolutely make the playoffs. And a lot of the NFL is trash. I'm not,
It is.
downplaying anybody, but everybody we expect to be good is trash. They're not playing well. They're not clicking. All these overplayed quarterbacks. They're not working out. Like, this is like the perfect place to be as a Broncos fan and an organization. Like, we're moving out all the trash and we're kind of like pulling the train through.
There
Exactly.
are 10 teams in the NFL that have 2 or fewer wins.
It's a lot.
To your point, Todd. And that means at this point in the season, those 10 teams are either 3 or 4 games below 500, which is wild to be at this point in the season already have that many bad teams.
Yep.
And I don't even want to look around the NFL right now. I just want to look at the Broncos. You're 5-3.
Yep.
Anytime a team is 5-3, especially with the way the Broncos are built, with a rookie quarterback, and they started a little shaky. Bo Nix didn't have his first touchdown pass until the Jets game. And he looked like a rookie the first couple of weeks. People were a little worried, but then he's turned it on since. In the past month, Bo Nix has the 9th best passer rating in the entire NFL. Not rookies or anything, entire NFL. It's better than Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, CJ Stroud, Jordan Love. You can go through the list of quarterbacks that it's better than. Josh Allen's having an MVP season. Some people think Patrick Mahomes is having an MVP season. Bo Nix in the past month has been, the betting odds say that. And Bo Nix is having a better most recent month than those guys. Bo Nix has the most total touchdowns of any rookie quarterback this entire season. He has 12 passing and on the ground. Jaden Daniels is second with 11. Bo has more than Caleb Williams. So Bo's trending in the right direction. So you get a young team that's trending in the right direction that has a winning record. We're not talking about things need to change. They just need to stay on this path, and they will make the playoffs. So whether you want to call it bust, whether you want to call it disappointment, this absolutely should be a playoff team. Right now, if the Broncos don't make the playoffs, I will be disappointed. And Broncos Country should kind of have those expectations of holding this team to the playoffs right now, I think.
Absolutely. Like, they should make the playoffs. And are we going to dig kind of deeper into competition later, or should we do that now?
No, let's first hear a clip from Mike McGlinchey, because
Mike.
outside of Sean absolutely trashing the Panthers and dunking on them over these past 48 hours since the game, the other storyline after the game against the Panthers was Sean not really being happy and pleased with this win and saying how much the Broncos had to improve. And really the biggest quote came yesterday when he was asked about not really seeming happy after the win. And he said, "I'm pleased we got the win. When we watched the film, there were a lot of good things we did, but there were a lot of bad things we did that we need to improve. And the standard kind of that I want to hold our team to is playing winning football every week to the extent of it doesn't matter who we're playing against. We need to play good enough football to beat the best teams in the NFL every single week. Even if we're playing the Panthers, we need to play like we're playing the Chiefs and beat the Chiefs every single week. And that's the standard we want to be to." But then he kind of takes a step back and says, "But you know what? The players need to have higher expectations for this team than I do." And now Sean didn't say what his expectations were. So yesterday after we talked to Sean and he told us that, we talked to Mike McGlinchey, and I asked Mike, what are the expectations for the players right now? What is this team looking at? And here's what Mike had to say. Hey, Mike, Coach has talked over the past 24 hours about how it's important that the players have higher expectations for this team than he does. So I wanted to ask you, what are your expectations and your teammates' expectations for this team?
Well, obviously, it's to get to the playoffs and have a chance at the Super Bowl. That if you're not playing for anything else, or if you are playing for anything else, you're probably not, doing a great job at it. I think the goal for this team and what we're capable of is definitely a postseason, and that's what we're going to try and strive for. And once we get there, you play each game one game at a time and see what happens. And but I think if you're playing for anything else, then you're playing for the wrong reasons.
All right, so Mike McGlinchey said the Broncos are playing to get into the playoffs and have a chance at the Super Bowl. And I love that. I think he absolutely nailed it with putting the expectations in the bar high while also being realistic. Because if Mike would have come in here and said, oh, it's Super Bowl or bust, Henry would have said, well, come on, what else is he supposed to say? He didn't say that. He put the bar at playoffs with the chance to get to the Super Bowl. And when you make the playoffs, you have a chance to win the Super Bowl. We've seen many wild card teams go on some crazy runs in the playoffs. And that's exactly where I think the bar is realistically, from the inside, from the outside, and what's a successful season, especially when you're sitting at 5-3.
Yeah, it's a building block. And, you know, if the goal is to win a Super Bowl, you don't do it all in 1 year. That's very, very hard to do. So you have to create milestones as an organization that you can kind of build off of. I think making the playoffs is a very realistic one for the team and where they're at right now. And it's the first step to getting closer to your goal. So I think this year playoffs, next year is AFC Championship, year after that Super Bowl. Like, I think those are how the goals are going to be set up if we're able to accomplish, you know, making the playoffs this year.
I don't think being realistic in this situation is a good thing. I think
Why?
I think that you should shoot for the AFC West. I think just about every team in the NFL should go into a season saying we can win our division. He didn't say anything about
the AFC West. He just said the playoffs. But the playoffs could very well mean you won the AFC West.
It's true. It's possible. It could mean you win a Super Bowl. But I just think when you show up, that bar is just it's very reasonable for an outsider, or if you're trying to set a goal. If you're the national media, what would be a good season for the Broncos? That'd be a good season. But I think if you don't believe that you can go beat anybody, or that even that you should go beat anybody, and maybe I'm off. You would know better, Todd, because you've played sports at a much higher level than I did. But I just don't think. I would love to have heard. I think we can go out there. I think we can beat anybody, and we're here to win a Super Bowl because that's our job. Even if it's not super realistic,
you got to be honest, though. I think
you have to be confident too.
But that's what, going back to Russ, I think that's what some players didn't like about what he did. Everything was optimistic. Everything was confident. It's no, we're not at that space. This, did you watch the film? That's not where we are. And I think for a Broncos team and organization that hasn't had winning records for multiple seasons, I think the playoffs is a big ask. You know what I'm saying?
It is.
They expect us to have 5 wins this year. I think the playoffs is shooting for the moon when you're supposed to have 5 wins. So I do think that it is a bold statement, and I don't think it's going to be an easy path for the Broncos either. They've had to work really hard to get here. They started 0-2. I think that they've worked hard to get here to this point. So I think he is being optimistic, and I think he is also. I don't think it's a bad statement.
No, and he did add that once you get in, then it's 1 week you try to get there. So he did throw that.
Well, and also he never limited the Broncos and what they could do, though. Henry, you said I wish he would have said, we can beat anyone. We're not scared of it. He didn't say well, we can't beat the Ravens this week, or we can't beat the Chiefs, and we can't make a run. So he never limited them. And Todd, I think it's such a good point about Russ, because that got old from people that weren't hearing it every single day. And so I can't imagine in the building, it's no, dude, we're 1-4. This endless optimism
at that point
has to change at some point. And so I do think there's also something to that. And kind of changing your mindset. And obviously Sean didn't love the way that Russ operated on the field. And then I don't think Sean loved the endless positivity when things weren't always positive. So I personally love that from Mike. I think it's realistic. And I think you can tell when he says playoffs, he truly means it. It's not just blowing smoke right now. And so I think the Broncos are at the exact same point, at least where I'm at, and I guess all of us are at now, is this is a big disappointment at 5-3 if they don't make the playoffs.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it'd be brutal. It'd be painful. It would suck for the fans. It'd suck for the coaches. It'd suck for the play. It will really hurt if they don't make the playoffs. And at the same time, I mean, Ravens and Chiefs on the road, and then you've got the Falcons who look good. I mean, this is kind of the season-defining stretch here. So I'm very confident now, but I'm curious to see what these next few weeks look like.
So let's look at kind of where other teams stand compared to the Broncos and where betting odds stand as well, because, Henry, you just said something that I think I have a little betting advice for people that want to check out Bet365. But before we get to that, I want to give a shout out to our friends over at Game Time, where if you live on the East Coast and you're going to go to the Broncos-Ravens game this week, you're going to want to check out Game Time. Use that code DNVR to get $20 off your first purchase. If you live in Chiefs enemy territory next week and you're going to go to the game, use the code DNVR to get $20 off over at Game Time. And then Henry mentioned it, the Broncos' next home game is against the Falcons. Make sure you're tailgating with us and make sure that you've got tickets to the game over at Game Time. Or whether you want to go to Sabrina Carpenter, she's coming to Ball Arena this Friday. $20 off your ticket over at Game Time. There's no better place to get tickets for anything. Whether you're talking about a rock show, a Broncos game, a pop show. Is that what it was? Is that what Sabrina Carpenter is? Yeah,
I prefer
concert.
the rap
shows. Right. Check out our friends over at Game Time. Use that code DNVR when you sign up to get $20 off. And of course, terms and conditions apply. Download the Game Time app. What time is it?
Game Time.
Boom.
Also, check out our friends over at Circle K. We love them. I know our Buffs guys, they really like to stop at Circle K when they take that big, I shouldn't call it a dumb bus. It's a cool bus that they do a bunch of cool things with, but they stop at Circle K and then they sit there for 10 hours on that bus, and apparently they enjoy it. So good for them. And I think it's because of the Circle K that they pick up when that's the first stop they make. So if you guys are looking for a snack, I know a lot of people listen to podcasts in the car. That's what I do. Check out Circle K. They've got a whole bunch of cool opportunities, like their free membership. You download the app. It's super easy. Enter your email or phone number. You're fully enrolled, and after that, you get a bunch of good deals. They're every day. So you get 25 cents off your next per gallon off your next 5 fill-ups. You get a bunch of free food and drinks and all those sorts of things. So download the Circle K app, sign up for the Inner Circle for exclusive offers. Their new offers, purchase clubs, and sweepstakes that are uploaded weekly.
And shout out to Bet365, our presenting sponsor. Code DNVR365 when you sign up. And shout out to the Toyota chat. Hit us with a thumbs up if you're tuning in right now. Subscribe. We're close to 100,000 subscribers. We really appreciate if you subscribe and hit us with a thumbs up. And shout out to Cody in the Toyota chat, who we love him. He's riding with us every single day. And he said, nice shirt, Zach. LFB, baby. Time to get your LFB shirts over at the DNVR locker, which is now the All City locker. So make sure to get your shirt. You can click the link in our description to get that checked out. All right, guys, let's look at the rest of the playoffs, see where Broncos stand. Todd, you mentioned it earlier. There's a lot of bad teams in the NFL and in the AFC. So how it sits right now, the playoff picture, the Chiefs are the number 1 seed, 7-0. Texans, number 2 seed, 6-2. Pittsburgh, number 3 seed, 6-2. Bills, number 4 seed, 6-2. So a lot of 6-2 teams. Then the wild card, Broncos, number 5 seed, the number 1 wild card at 5-3. Baltimore tied with the Broncos at 5-3, but they're 1 game below the Broncos due to conference record. This will play itself out this weekend, obviously. Whoever wins that will definitely have the lead there. And then the Chargers are actually the final wild card seed as the 7th seed, sitting at 4-3. 3 AFC West teams in the playoffs, at least as of right now. Then you go on, teams out of the playoffs. The Colts are the 8th seed at 4-4. Bengals, 9th seed at 3-5. Dolphins, 10th seed at 2-5. Browns, 11th seed at 2-6. And then you just go on, and every other team has 2 or fewer wins. The Raiders, the Jags, the Patriots, the Jets, and the Titans. So when you look at the AFC playoff picture, what do you see? What do you think?
I think there's 7 teams that can make the playoffs, and I think everybody else doesn't even really have a chance.
Wow.
Like, I mean, the Chargers are good, so we might have to battle it out with them, but I think even if we didn't win the next Charger game, I think that we still could make the playoffs.
Yep.
But besides that, I mean, the Dolphins, Tua just got back. I don't think that, they're going to go on a 7-game run. Who else was right there at like 3-5?
You have the Bengals at 3-5.
They're done, man.
Really?
Joe Burrow's cooked. No, I'm just playing. Don't clip it. Don't clip it.
The guy that still thinks Aaron Rodgers is the second best quarterback in the NFL?
No, he's not cooked. That was just a joke. But I don't think that they're making a push, man. They're a second half team too, but they're one injury or thumb dislocation away from being at home.
December 29th, week 17, game 16. They're they're playing the Broncos in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And I think there's a chance that is a big one, but they've got some work to do to make that a big one for them.
I think that game is going to be huge. And Todd, I agree with everything you said outside of the Bengals. So actually, the Colts are the first team out of the playoffs. They're 4-4.
I mean, he's tapping out because he's tired.
have
Like,
you ever
I'm
seen
done.
that?
No,
He is.
not at quarterback. Now I've done that at linebacker.
Okay,
That's different.
Tell me if I'm wrong. You could do that at any position outside of quarterback and offensive line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
for
can
sure.
tap out, ask
Yep.
for a break. Probably happens in every single game.
Yeah.
I guess cornerbacks typically play the whole game, but like let's say Pat Surtain or Riley Moss did that for one play. No one's getting on. No one's noticing. It's not a big deal. Come on, Anthony Richardson. What are you doing? And
Yeah.
he built his. It's not like this was Joe Flacco running around, and he's not meant to run around and be this type of quarterback where he needs a breather. This is his game.
Yeah. And I feel like you're the quarterback. If you are that tired, just check to a run. Take a deep
It was
breath.
third down.
I don't care. and third down, you got to find a way to get on the field. But like just check to a run, man. To catch your breath,
Yeah.
but do not tap out on us.
I will say,
No.
so to me, there are two teams that could take one of the playoff spots from the 7 who are in, and that's the Colts at 4-4, Bengals at 3-5. I don't think either will at this point. The Colts, though, they have a really good team. Like the running game, I guess the receivers aren't very good, but the defense is really good. If Anthony Richardson does turn it on in the second half, which I don't think will happen, but for a young guy who hasn't played a bunch of football, I think it's a possibility. Then all of a sudden I could see them making a run. But that's a pretty big if.
Yeah, this is like saying if Paxton Lynch were to have been good and turned it on his first year in the NFL, then you guys would have made the playoffs.
The thing is,
if Paxton Lynch would have been the truth, you guys would have made the playoffs. Anthony Richardson has a 44% completion percentage.
but have you seen the cut-ups they had of that game? It just drop. Like I think
I'm not talking one game. I'm talking
yeah.
about through 8 games.
Oh,
44%.
totally.
It's the worst completion percentage for any quarterback through the first 8 games, I believe, in NFL history.
and they're 4-4.
Right, but what I'm saying
And so,
is,
like, if you
he's-
get that
he's
up to 55?
bad. He also has, I think, 4
Yes.
touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He's not good. So when you're saying if Anthony Richardson turns around,
But I'm not saying
He's
like,
not
goes
going
to a
to.
Pro Bowl. It's just like if he can get that 44% up to 55%, is that enough for them to finish with a winning record? I wouldn't be surprised.
you say the Colts have a really good team. I don't want to take words out of
They're
your
a
mouth.
good
What do you
team.
say?
They're a good team.
They're a bottom 10 scoring team. They're the 13th best defense in the NFL. That's not anything that special. I think I should say I'm not worried about the Colts. I'm more worried about the Bengals. And Henry, that game you identified, Week 17, Broncos, Bengals. That's one that can be flexed to either Saturday football. It can be like primetime Saturday night football, or it can be on Sunday. We don't know yet. I think that game is going to be huge for the Bengals making a playoff push. I think we know the top 6 playoff teams right now. It's the ones I mentioned, and I think the Chargers and the Bengals are going to battle it out for that final spot.
Yeah,
I think
I'm
it's
good with
pretty
that.
crystal clear.
I think you got to put
That's
the
fair.
Broncos in that conversation too, though. Just knowing what this upcoming stretch is. Like they have the half-game lead on the Chargers right
You know, the
now.
Steelers
but
are going to fall. They're going to lose a couple games too.
You would think. It's 6-2. Broncos could pass them.
so
They could drop.
So, Henry, you mentioned the next couple of games coming up.
Ravens too.
If you think the
5-4 with the
Broncos
tiebreaker.
are going to make the playoffs and you want to bet on them, what do you think the odds are right now? Do you think the
Less
Broncos
than
have
3-1. I'd say plus 250.
for the Broncos to make the playoffs right now?
I'll go plus 235.
Plus 450.
Plus 450. Wow. Vegas likes the Broncos more than you guys
Wow.
expected.
Oh, wow.
In fact, they like them double the amount that Henry says. The Broncos are plus 125 to make
Crazy.
the playoffs right now. So almost even odds. They're still saying there's more of an outside shot that they make it than they don't. If you like this as a Broncos fan, don't bet on it now. Unless you think the Broncos are going to sweep the next 2 games. And if you do, then, I mean, these odds are going to be like minus 500 if they win the next 2 games, minus 1,000. But if you think maybe the Broncos split or maybe drop both games, then wait until after these 2-game stretch, because then the odds are going to go back up to like plus 500 or something like that. And the Broncos, I'm saying all of this today with knowing the Broncos could easily go 0-2 the next 2 games. They're playing 2 really good teams on the road. At 5-5, they're still going to be in a position to make the playoffs, in my opinion. I think the Broncos will take care of business at home against the Falcons. Then you have an awful Raiders team, and then you have a Browns team where I love Jameis Winston. The Jameis juice that hit the Browns this past week to beat the Ravens is going to be completely dried out by then. So we're going to see the Browns team that we've seen most of this season so far. That's a win as well. The Broncos are going to have a winning record going into their bye week.
Yeah. I mean, they absolutely should. I'd be really surprised if they don't. Yeah, those are my thoughts.
But you said that Falcons game you think it's really tough in a way the Broncos will still win? Because if you think that's a loss, then I'm curious where you think the Broncos get the winning record.
I'd imagine they'll get at least one of these 3. You know, it's tough to say which one, but like I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they win this week. Like I know I guess I've hit the point with my bets where I had the over 5.5, 6.5, 7.5, 8.5, 9.5. So each week I just get but I'm still probably going to take this money line because, like, I think this week is pretty close to a 50-50 game. I think that Chiefs game, maybe I'm a little more pessimistic, but not by much. The Falcons game about the same. So I think all of these are very winnable. I also think, I mean, the Browns just beat the Ravens, so you got that one coming up too. I think the difference between easy games and tough games, unless it really is like the beat up Saints or the Lions, like it isn't that big. And I think the Broncos are at a point where they can be competitive in all these, but no results would really surprise me in this stretch, I guess, off the top of my head.
You mentioned the Broncos. You took them at 5.5, 6.5, 7.5, 8.5. Currently, their live over-under is 8.5 right now. So we're not even, you don't even have to get playoffs in if you still want to get plus money because it's plus 100 to take the over on Broncos 8.5 wins. Man, Vegas is believing in the Broncos a little bit, but then also not believing in the Broncos. Speaking of odds, if you think the Broncos are going to do what Henry wants them to do and say they're competing for the division in the AFC West, the Chiefs right now are minus 5,000 to win the AFC West, which is wild. Yep. The Chargers plus 2,000, and the Broncos behind the Chargers at plus 2,200. So if you really believe in the Broncos, that's where the money is right now. Let's get in to some other awards for the Broncos. For Sean Payton, Coach of the Year, Pat Surtain, Defensive Player of the Year. Where do you think these guys rank in terms of the big awards at the midseason mark? Let's take a look, and we're going to take a look over at our friends over at Bet365, where if you want the best odds out there, Bet365 is going to have them for you. They also have amazing boosts, including just an awesome sign-up boost. Use the code DNVR365 when you sign up. Deposit $10, place a $5 bet, and you're going to get $200 in bonus bets. Plus, they're going to give you Altitude Plus courtesy of Bet365. And the awesome thing about Altitude Plus right now, this is the time to get it. With the Nuggets and Avs back right now, you can watch their games on Bet365, or courtesy of Bet365 is what I should say. And you can also get in on all of these odds that we're talking about. Plus, they've got odds for everything. Their whole thing is about everything is unordinary over at Bet365. So you want a weird bet, they probably got it over there. Plus, all of the normal bets as well. So check them out. Use that code DNVR365 when you sign up to get these offers. Must be 21 and older, physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, once help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Also, shout out to Breckenridge Distillery. Todd, you were up in the Breckenridge Bourbon Club, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Having a good time.
Up there meeting all the people, shaking hands, signing autographs.
Signing babies, kissing babies.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
With their
hands.
Permission, of course. Yeah.
No diddy.
Breck is like an awesome partner of the Broncos. They have that lounge. We've been up there, I guess, only once, but it is really cool. But part of their partnership is that they also have Broncos bourbon blends. So those 2024 blends hit the shelves back in August. You can still pick them up. Breckenridge Distillery is the world's highest distillery, founded in 2008, widely known for their blended bourbon whiskey, which is a high rye mash American-style whiskey, which is my favorite. Our Breckenridge bourbon is one of the most highly awarded craft bourbons in the U.S., right now you can enter to win 2 tickets to the Denver Broncos games in the Breckenridge Bourbon Whiskey Suite. So share how you celebrate the Broncos by posting your photos to social media using hashtag Broncos Bourbon. Also use code DNVR at checkout for free shipping on all orders over $99. Learn more at BreckenridgeDistillery.com.
All right, and shout out to our presenting sponsor, Bet365. Hit us with a thumbs up if you're tuning in. We'd love to hear from all of you. Okay, so let's look where Broncos players, coaches stand in the awards, the season-long awards, but midway through the season. Who do you think has better odds to win their respective awards? Pat Surtain, Defensive Player of the Year, Bo Nix, Rookie of the Year, or Sean Payton, Coach of the Year?
I would say Sean probably has the best odds to win Coach of the Year.
Okay.
That would be my guess.
Okay.
Then it would be...
I like this. We're doing a 1, 2, 3. I like
then
it.
it would be Bo with Rookie of the Year.
Okay.
And then it would be Pat with Defensive Player of the Year. That would
Okay.
be my thought process.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm curious if the odds have shifted to Bo yet. I think all the Jaden Daniels hype might make him too heavy of a favorite, but I'd probably still go the same way. I think those last 2 would be the close ones, though.
Which ones?
Bo and Pat.
You guys better watch out. Bet365 might be scooping you up to
Wow.
to be putting some odds out there. You guys are absolutely right. Sean Payton leads the 3 of these guys in terms of their position, but Sean Payton is not the favorite to be the Coach of the Year. If you could take a guess, who would it be?
Mike Tomlin.
Nope.
That's a
Once you
good
get to
one,
a
though.
certain point, they discount you. Like Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
I think it's...
It's the Chiefs and Andy Reid? No, because he fits into what I just said. He fits into, like,
That'd be
he's reached
somebody
that
newer.
level where they just kind of never give you the award.
Yeah. It's got to be Dan Quinn.
It is Dan
Yeah.
Quinn, plus 210, then Kevin O'Connell. Then,
Tomlin's a good bet, though.
actually, Kevin O'Connell and Sean Payton are tied for second. And Kevin O'Connell's done an incredible job. 2 losses now. Maybe they're a little worried. They're going to start slipping. And obviously,
They're
Sean, 5-1 since the 0-2 start, just really rising. Dan Quinn, though, but Sean's right there. Dan Quinn, plus 210. Sean Payton and Kevin O'Connell, plus 650. Dan Campbell's right behind him. Andy Reid's right there. Jim Harbaugh, Mike Tomlin. They're all in the 850, 8 to 850 range. So kind of a big group of guys right there. But Sean at the top of that group.
It's fair.
Yeah.
I think Sean's done a great job, but there are some other coaches in the league that have done really well this year, especially with the talent they've had. I think you look at the Vikings, you look at the Steelers. You know, you got to give them some credit for what
Yeah.
they have over there.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. And the Broncos have been in a really bad spot, not just from last year to this year or 2 years ago to this year, but also just the past decade they've been in a bad spot. Commanders, pretty similar position, like maybe even more dysfunction, or definitely more dysfunction as an organization, maybe not just on the field, but as an organization. So what Dan Quinn's doing is good. I totally get him being 1, but Sean's right there for number 2. So then the guy with the second best odds to win his award is, did you guys say Pat Surtain or Bo Nix?
Said Bo.
Yep, you guys are right with Bo Nix, and you were right, Henry, about Jaden Daniels is having all the hype surrounding him right now. Jaden Daniels is minus 450, which means you have to place $450 on the table to get $100 back. Whereas with Bo, if you were to bet $100 and Bo were to win, they would give you $1,200. So that's just how different these odds are right now. So Jaden Daniels is the favorite at minus 450. Caleb Williams is second at plus 900. Bo Nix is plus 1,200, but he has shot up these rankings in the past couple of weeks. Like I said, he's been the best rookie over this past month. He has the best touchdown to interception ratio, 7-1, most touchdowns, a total of 9, fewest interceptions, I believe, with 1. The best passer rating, and he's tied for the most wins with Jaden Daniels at 3 here. But I'll tell you what, those odds are way too juicy for Bo, in my opinion, right now, because Bo is trending in the right direction. Jaden Daniels has now been banged up back-to-back weeks, I think.
That's a
He's been
concern
hurt
with
in
him.
both of those, so
He's a
I don't
skinny
know.
guy.
Those are pretty darn good odds for a guy that's trending in the right direction.
Who else is on that list besides Jaden Daniels and Bo?
So when you go back, Caleb Williams just above Bo. Then you have Brian Thompson Jr. at plus 2,000. Malik Neighbors.
Thomas.
What'd I say?
Thompson.
Oh, yeah, Thomas. Malik Neighbors at plus 2,200. Brock Bowers at plus 2,800. Marvin Harrison Jr. at plus 4,000. He was one of the heavy
Early
favorites to start the season. Drake May at plus 8,000. And then you kind of get in the plus 10,000 range there.
So Bo's in a good spot.
Especially a quarterback.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you just hope that it's not like too much hype built around Jaden Daniels, because it seems like Bo's been outplaying him, but Bo still hasn't been getting the love that he should be. So we just have to hope that Bo continues and then Jaden kind of like takes a few steps back.
Yep.
Because if it's close, I feel like, it'll be tough.
Totally. I mean, you're talking about the number 2 overall pick. Todd, you talk about it all the time. First round picks are going to get a lot more credit. They're going to get a lot more shine. They're going to get a lot more chances than anyone else. And it works in draft order too. Jaden Daniels was number 2 overall pick. Bo was 12. He's still a first round pick, but he was also the 6th quarterback taken. And then there's also the first impression thing. Man, Jaden Daniels had an incredible first impression. Bo did nothing special early on in the season. So Jaden Daniels got all the hype, and now Bo's really under the radar right now, trying to work himself out of that hole, and he definitely has from a play perspective. But in terms of like a national recognition perspective, he's still trying to get there. So I agree with you there. And then Defensive Player of the Year. You know who's favored? Aiden Hutchinson was favored. Obviously, he's off the board now with his injury.
TJ Watt?
Yep, TJ Watt, plus 100. So he's even money to win this. Vegas is saying he has a 50% chance of winning this. Will Anderson Jr. plus 550. Chris Jones plus 1,000. Dexter Lawrence, who was a beast last night, plus 1,200. Nick Bosa plus 1,400. Then you finally get to Pat Surtain, the first cornerback on the board, at plus 1,600 over at Bet365.
It's so hard to win that as a corner.
Yep.
But he's getting more and more picks. I think that's how you do it, those
Yep.
game-changing plays. So if he continues this streak of interceptions, as well as being a lockdown corner, I think he'll be in a really good spot to make a push for it.
Yep.
100%. And man, a pick in these next 2 games would be huge, because then it's a pick against Lamar Jackson, then it's a pick against Patrick Mahomes, and Patrick Mahomes is just throwing picks to everyone right now. So Justin Simmons probably wishes he was still on the Broncos for this game, because he knows exactly how to take. He did have one earlier this season. Mahomes has 9 interceptions on the season. That might lead the NFL right now. I think it does. I'm not positive about
What does
that.
Jordan
He was
Love have?
leading the NFL.
He was?
He was leading the NFL. Yeah.
And
Okay.
this week he didn't have any, so maybe someone
Love is
overtook
at 9.
him. Love's at 9, so
Yeah.
those guys are tied for the most interceptions in the NFL. That is just wild. So if he gets it 1 or 2 the next 2 weeks, man, that's really going to help his case.
Yep.
My favorite bets right now for Bo are they have the rookie passing props. So the most passing yards for a rookie right now, Jaden Daniels at 1736, Bo's at 1530, Caleb Williams at 1448, but he's only played 7 games. You can get Jaden at even money, Caleb at plus 120, or Bo Nix at 5-1. And right now he's 200 yards back.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun. They also have the touchdowns. So right now, 9 for Caleb, 8 for Bo, 7 for Jaden Daniels. Caleb's minus 225, Bo's plus 350,
Yeah.
Jaden's plus 550. And then
That's
the
one I would
interceptions
go.
of the Caleb Williams at plus 100. Caleb Williams, Bo Nix tied with 5. Caleb Williams at plus 100, Bo Nix plus 120.
To lead,
Most interceptions.
yeah, I wouldn't take Bo. Bo's
Take Caleb.
had, 1 pick in the past month right now. So, yes, he does have 5 on the season.
Drake
but
May at
4 of them.
6-1. He's at 2 right now, 3 behind him.
He only played a couple of games. too.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I can
Yep.
see there being money there. I like that. And then Vance Joseph, we got to give him his shine at this midseason check-in right now. We talked about it yesterday. I think he's going to get serious run to be a head coach by a team next season. Henry thinks he sticks around. I'll lean toward him being gone just because of how incredible of a job he's doing. And Todd, you're still undecided here, but we wouldn't be able to do this show in a midseason check-in without just giving all of the love to Vance Joseph, because he 100% deserves this. What he's done, again, remember 8 weeks ago, Pro Football Focus, ESPN, any national outlet that graded teams said the Broncos have the worst roster in the NFL.
Yep.
And Vance Joseph has arguably the best defense in the NFL. Broncos haven't added any pieces to this defense. So those people were obviously wrong about the Broncos' talent, but Vance Joseph has clearly maximized this group so far.
Yeah, he's been coaching them really well, man, and I think he surrounded himself with a lot of great coaches, Jim Leonard, and countless other ones that have been head coaches on the defense. Like, there's a long list of good coaches up there, and I think, Vance Joseph is at the top of the list, and he does a great job of, making it simple for the players, but, intricate for opposing offensive coordinators. So, he's going to keep it going. Will he be here next year? I don't know. If I was the defensive coordinator on a team that was possibly going to go to the playoffs, I don't know. I don't know. I just know that, offensive coordinator and defensive coordinators, they make good money, but head coaches always make more. And if you could still keep your same job, you could be a head coach / defensive coordinator, make more money. You've already been through it, so you feel like you do it good the second time. I don't know, man. There would be a huge, if it was me, I feel like I would try to be a head coach.
You have to. Come on. I mean, and someone brought up the comparison of Spags yesterday. Well, he's already had opportunities. He's already done the head coaching thing and failed at that. So he's kind of found his home, and he's made all the money in the world. Vance Joseph has only had one opportunity. And if he gets a second opportunity, one for just the position, why would you not want that? Vance Joseph does have aspirations to be a head coach, so he'd want to do that again. But then also, yeah, defensive coordinators make a lot of money. Let's just say he has $1.5 million. He makes $1.5 million per year. I don't know if that's actually it. And he has 1 or 2 years left on that. Okay, great money, of course. But let's say a team comes in and says, all right, Vance, here's $24 million guaranteed over the next 4 seasons.
I'm out.
Yeah, but bye. See ya. Thanks, Denver. I would not blame him at all, and I think he should jump on that opportunity, and I think he should get that opportunity.
Definitely. I mean, he definitely should. We'll see if it happens. But all this reminded me of Eric Bieniemy. I was watching college football on Saturday, and I had no idea he was now the offensive coordinator at UCLA.
Go for Chip Kelly.
Yeah, but 2 years ago, he was... that was his 5th season with the Chiefs as the offensive coordinator. Everybody's like, this guy's awesome, and then he goes to be the offensive coordinator of the Commanders. Crazy decision. Obviously doesn't work out, and now he's stuck in college because of that horrible, horrible, horrible decision he made to leave the Chiefs.
Yes, but I think Vance is very different.
Definitely.
The Airbnb had problems with the players, had problems with the organization. Vance's problems here were never with the players, and it really... I don't feel like it was a fair shot. You live and die by your quarterback, and we're not going to go get a top-tier quarterback. What am I supposed to do?
Yep, 100%.
And we were still like competitive.
Yep. All right, we got to get
2016 or did Kubi
2017, 2018. Yep.
Okay.
All right, we got to get to super chats here because we got 2 of them coming in from Melvin, our friend, who says, "Bust is the same thing, and Zach can never be wrong." Thank you. I appreciate that. I don't know if that's...
I think he's being sarcastic.
I don't know if he is.
I don't know.
I'm not going to take it as...
Yeah.
Zach is rarely wrong.
But he said bust is the same thing as... So I think that part actually literally does agree with me. Bust is the same thing as... what's the word we were using? Disappointment. Yep.
Oh, I thought...
So then that would actually agree with me. So then that wasn't...
Bust is the same thing as like... Something... Push it all in. What was...
You got to clarify.
All in.
All in. Bust is the same thing as all in.
Yeah, I don't know. You got to help us out, Melvin. This means 2 different things. I either love your comment or I'm gonna go cry over your comment.
No.
Yeah.
He did. He was talking about a different Zach.
That
was Zach.
No, that was Zach. I think that was with a K,
was
right?
it with a K?
Yeah.
Wow.
Zach with a K. So yeah, I don't even know
guy.
who you're talking
Different
about. Shout out to Alex for correcting that. Cody joining us. I'm the man. Says Numby's accuracy.
Mm-hmm.
Love that, unless the is there. Appreciate you guys rocking.
What was the poll say, Yaya? The poll we did.
What are you talking about?
Yes, we did. He's just trying to make me look like an idiot.
Cheering for Russ, question mark. Yes, no, neutral. With 336 votes, 55% say no. They're not cheering for Russ.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
I mean, Russ burned this organization, but there's a lot more people that are okay with Russ than I would have expected with the initial feelings. And I do think what helps is that the Broncos have their new boo. They've got their new Bo.
Shouty.
And that Sean, I think people really believe in Sean now, where I think there were some people that were questioning whether Sean was making the right decision. But I think Sean has proven everyone that he is a damn good coach. And he's really making Bo Nix a damn good quarterback, arguably the best quarterback in this rookie draft class, at least so far. Really appreciate everyone tuning in, everyone voting, and really appreciate you, Todd, you, Henry, you here. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in with us. Hit us with a thumbs up on the way out. We appreciate it, and we'll be back tomorrow. We got our guy Brian Baldinger joining us, and we're really diving into the Ravens game. How do the Broncos pull off this, what Vegas believes is a massive upset? Almost 10-point dogs. We're breaking it down tomorrow because we all think it's a lot more likely to happen than not.
Bet it now, or do you think the line's moving in the Broncos' favor? Or, like, you could get more points?
Let's talk about it tomorrow because there has been a clear trend about that. So we'll talk about it tomorrow, 10 a.m.
We all silly like the mayor.